In the last year, wasn't it at its 90 cents like a year ago?
1 year. True story. So William was here yesterday. He's one of the people who teaches in the program. Been a day trader since he's 11. His dad is an investor. He told his dad, put $2 million into Ether at 90 cents. It would have been $1.2 billion today. He said he calls his dad every day to make fun of him. He's like, Dad, I told you. But William bought.
The next one you may think is a little boring, but Ethereum. You know, there's nothing wrong with buying. It's, you know, Bitcoin has the largest market cap, but Ethereum is huge. It's a platform that's growing quickly. The team, you know, Vitalik Buterin is, one of the geniuses. And
so write it up there. 3 Ethereum. People like when you're right.
Ethereum, ETH. It's easy to buy. You can get it on Coinbase. It's available on almost every exchange. And if you want to watch this Vitalik Buterin, if you get into the weeds, he goes into detail. People are like, well, Ethereum's slow. Someone posted that comment. Yeah, like Ty says, transactions grew 2,000% this year. But they have plans for scaling that are happening, and it's real, and it's not like some, you know, the hard part, Satoshi Nakamoto, or whoever that is, he figured it out how to do this consensus algorithm. Now everyone's just tweaking and scaling and improving it, and Ethereum is going to get faster by like 100x every year. There's so many companies, so many smart people building on it, and it is one of the largest. And if, you know, people say IOTA is going to pass it, and Quantum's going to beat it, or the EOS are going to kill it. You'll see when it's like a horse race, and you want to have one that's going to keep running fast. It's so far ahead, running so fast. If something else is catching, we'll see that, and you could transition. But right now, it's I just feel one of the safer ones. Maybe it doesn't go up, it doesn't double every week, like Stellar just did. But sometimes I like to look at not how much can this go up, but how much can it go down? And these can all go down a lot tomorrow. But Ethereum is not going away. As opposed to some platform that's supposed to launch in a year, this thing has been up. It's stable and growing. And to me, it just feels safe. And for this industry, I'm used to the stock market where, you feel like it's just, you want something that's going to grow for a long time. And in this, our expectations, we start to look for, well, what's going to go up 10% per day every day? And maybe that's not going to happen with Ethereum. But the ecosystem, the platform, the amount of people involved, the amount of companies building on it, it's growing and growing. So I feel good owning a
lot of
piece.
things would have to crash for Ethereum to stop being used, because most of the ICOs, not all of them, are being built around or on top of Ethereum. So a lot of people have to fail for that one. It's not a guarantee it won't fail. What Dave's saying is, if you want to have a larger market cap token to put some money in, Ethereum, that's not Bitcoin. Ethereum is the second largest market cap in the world. Now, let's just show you some charts here.
And just one thing, when you compare Bitcoin's bigger, the reason I'm not as bullish on Bitcoin is, who's the leader? What's the scaling plan? Bitcoin, it's a community. They're fighting. It's not the technology is not really progressing and upgrading. Ethereum had a hard fork a couple months ago. They had the planned hard fork. It went through on time. And if you look at there's this bitinfocharts.com is really good. You can see the day they did the fork, the speed, time per block just dropped. All these metrics immediately improved. You don't see that with Bitcoin. When they had the fork, the SegWit 2x, I don't know, nothing changed. It's still the same slow speed. It's, at the end of the day, some of these, you got to look at them as just, it's a software platform. You need a team with a roadmap, with a track record of launching and making improvements. And I see that happening in Ethereum. So I don't know. I don't see this thing going down. It certainly isn't going down right now.
Yeah, let's look at a price graph of Ethereum. So if you had looked in the last, let's look at the last, what should we do?
In the last year, wasn't it at its 90 cents like a year ago?
1 year. I got a true story. So William was here yesterday. He's one of the people who teaches in the program, been a day trader since he's 11. He told his dad to put, his dad is an investor. He told his dad, put $2 million into Ether at 90 cents. it would have been $1.2 billion today. And his dad, he said he calls his dad every day to make fun of him. He's like, Dad, I told you. But William bought. So there's Ethereum. It shot, you can see here is a 1-year chart. I don't know if you can see that. You know, it's at, there's 700. You can see the movement. You can see it dropped over time. So you had to be a believer to stick and not sell when it dropped. But there, look, let's just say in October, it was at $300 and now it's at 700. So what he's saying is that it's okay to look at some of the larger market cap tokens and buy them. You don't have, some people, it's kind of like music. Some people ain't gonna like Coldplay because they're a hipster and they're like, Coldplay's a sellout. Some people don't like Drake. You know, they're like XXS Tentacion or whatever because they're like, Drake is, some people just hate the mainstream, which is okay. I mean, if you're a hipster investor, great. But better is to be smart. I always tell people, what do you want to be, right or rich?
Or
right or rich.
Or people are looking for the one that no one knows and it's worth nothing and it's going to shoot up. You can make more money, but that's hard to do.
Yeah.
As opposed to picking out, you know, which album is going to be good. The new band you never heard of, and if it is, wow, that's amazing. Or the next Coldplay album. Like, you know, it's sort of a no-brainer.
Yep. So I think that it's critical. Somebody's asking about Steam here. Will Steam kill YouTube? Oh, I don't think so. YouTube, I mean, Steam's like kind of like, we're back to our analogy of cucumbers and buttermilk biscuits. Steam, you know, is like kind of powering a Reddit, decentralized Reddit. YouTube is, you know how much content's uploaded to YouTube? Killing YouTube would be a biatch. And maybe it'll happen sometime. I don't think it's going to happen.
This whole killing thing, it's like when the internet started, it was like, you know, it's it's changing communication, but there's still telephone companies, like most of the companies, a lot of the companies that were around are still around. It just now, a lot of it is done through the internet, and the internet is the main place. So this is going to be a new platform, and there may be a new way of delivering video, and maybe some video delivery blockchain-based system becomes bigger than YouTube, but they'll probably still be YouTube. Or maybe YouTube is the one that develops this blockchain video system.
Yeah, one of my people that I consider a mentor, Brock Pierce, I was just talking to him this month about where's this thing going to go? And he's very, very, very optimistic that the internet will be replaced by blockchain. And because the internet is inherently insecure, when they built the fundamental kind of groundwork of the internet, the foundation, it's insecure, whereas, you know, the whole concept of blockchain is highly secure. So he says it will replace how we use the internet and websites as we know it. So, you know,
a lot of these things too, we're talking a 5-10 year story.
Yes.
You know, so replacing YouTube, rebuilding the internet. These things are going to take 10 years. So that's the other thing where you want to get educated, you want to know, maybe you want to put a little money in, but you don't have to get in right now. And we could eventually get to some period where for a year, like, prices don't move, and there's another time to get in. When the web was created, nobody was saying, oh my God, I can't wait to make so much money on social media. We didn't even know it as a term. That wasn't even for 10 years after the web started. So there's going to be things that we haven't even thought of yet that are going to be huge. And so there's sort of no rush. And that's one of the things, too. I like to think, one of the main things you want to avoid is getting kicked out of the game, putting all your money in and losing it, and you're sort of out of it. You know, take your time, and you don't want to get kicked out. But you also don't want to miss the whole thing either. So
somebody said the planet doesn't even have 10 years. So Nina Adams is predicting planet Earth will be gone. And hey, it's possible.
Well,
then you don't need money
for $4 billion. You know,
but you don't need money.
Within the next 10, it's going to be gone. You know, that's a high risk bet.
Hey, but the way to think about that is, if planet Earth is gone in 10 years, then who cares?
Right.
Who cares?
Then roll the dice. You might as well.
What platform do you use to trade Stellar? You said you're using.
I buy it on Bittrex and Poloniex.
Yeah. Bittrex and Poloniex come up when I talk to the smartest people in the industry, the whales, I mean, Bittrex, Poloniex, Binance, these are coming up, you know. So I can tell you from talking to smart people, that is a very, those three
Those
are
exchanges,
kind of popping up the most right
they're
now.
not great, and I wouldn't leave your money on it
It's
for
like
a long
it's
time.
like Poloniex. It's like everybody uses it, but nobody likes it.
Yeah.
They consider it a little bit shady.
You submit to customer service, they'll reply in 3 weeks,
3 weeks.
if you're lucky, you know. So be
One
careful.
thing you
but-
should understand that's very important is that the fact that there's inefficiencies, that Coinbase takes a long time, that you can't always get your money out. The inefficiencies create the profit. Because the second it becomes as efficient as the stock market, New York Stock Exchange, you're going to have huge hedge funds come in with massive algorithmic trading. That's why you don't want to be in too late, because it gets too hard to make money. For the most part, the only people making money in the stock market right now are mass institutions, hedge fund guys, and even they don't always make money. You know, for the most part, the average consumer is making less than 5% on their 401k and their IRA. And you know why? Well, because it's a sophisticated game and it's too efficient now. So the beauty of this cryptocurrencies and things like, you know, the exchanges being slow and this and that and harder to get your money at, those inherently create opportunity. If you're a little more patient than the average person, if you're a little, you know, willing to invest a little more time than the average person, there is potentiality for you. So never, like Elon Musk says, you get paid in proportion to the difficulty of problems you solve. Tesla solved a hard problem. Ford, Chevrolet, Toyota have been working on a mass-produced, you know, non-gasoline car, and they haven't been able to pull it off. Elon Musk does it, and now his company, since 2008 to now, in 10 years, is more valuable than Ford Motors, which has been around for over a century. So he solved a difficult problem. Now, we're not talking about you making as much money as Elon Musk. What I'm saying is the fact that there's some level of difficulty.
Yeah, we are early.
Which headline?
The thing that's interesting with this is all of these projects require a token to function.
Yeah.
So imagine with Google, when they launched at Stanford University, if it required a token that's, you know, distributed and tradable, you could have invested in Google when they launched in Stanford. They didn't even start selling on pay-per-click for 4 years later, and then were public 7 years after that. So one reason things are going up so fast and are so volatile and it's so crazy is because it's so early. And we're before Wall Street. Usually, you know, there's the angel investor, the venture capital, the private equity, the IPO, and then we can get in. This time, this is the first time ever Main Street is in before Wall Street.
That's because this is threatening the underlying concept of money. So Wall Street is not quick to adapt to things that threaten the very underpinning of how they've built a system. So that's what happened with Microsoft. They were passed up by Apple. Microsoft, Bill Gates was the #1 company in the world. He was the wealthiest man in the world for 17 years straight. He missed the internet because what he was selling was basically programs that you would download to your computer. Things like Excel, Word. That's how they were making their money, right? PowerPoint. So when a new concept came in of cloud computing, which is what the internet is basically become, like now you don't download applications to your computer as much. If you want to use QuickBooks, there's QuickBooks Online. If you want to use even Excel, you use Google Drive, Google Sheets. So because it threatened Microsoft, Bill Gates was slow to adopt it, and Apple and other companies, Amazon, have surpassed them. So if you're interested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and want to learn how to make money with Bitcoin, I'm opening up a brand new Bitcoin Crypto Academy for you. Crypto is starting to fundamentally change everything from currencies to the very structure behind the internet. And if you don't understand it, you will be left behind. Remember, if you had put $100 into Bitcoin in 2010, you would have over $100 million right now. I don't want you to miss out on the coming opportunities offered by Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency space. So I brought in the best experts in the game, the people that are teaching me and training me, and I'm going to share that with you because it's not too late to understand Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and the blockchain and to make money with it. So to sign up for my new Bitcoin Crypto Academy and learn how to invest, how to make money in this new exciting space, I'm going to open up room for a few of you to have early access to the new online mentor mastermind. So go to tailopez.com/Bitcoin podcast to learn more. So I'm testing the mastermind. So I'm just going to let a few of you in at a low price, and it's already filling up quickly. So if you want to get in, I'll let a few of you in. So go to tailopez.com/Bitcoin podcast, all one word, tailopez.com/Bitcoin podcast. If the course is closed, when you get to the page, put in your name in the waiting list. You missed out on the first round. And if you see it, welcome to the group. I'm glad you didn't procrastinate. Okay, back to the show. What's happening with Jamie Dimon and the banking system and all this is that it's based and predicated around regulated control of money, centrally regulated at the Federal Reserve level, right? So it's a handful of people controlling interest rates and, interbank rates, how they loan money to each other, all these complex things where they analyze inflation and growth and they go, okay, we're going to change the way money moves. And trust me, Federal Reserve has tremendous power, not only just power in the United States, but global power, because what you do in the United States, it's a ripple effect, domino effect. It affects basically every country in the world. So what happens is this new thing, cryptocurrency, comes out. And all of a sudden, anybody can create something that's traded. So it's not a currency per se, but it's traded and it has potential increase in everybody. You could come up, you could do an ICO. You've got a company, you could create something and build off, let's say, something like Ethereum and build something and it's a little bit harder now because there's not enough blockchain developers that are good that can actually do the coding, but it's getting better and more solutions are coming out. And what happens is all of a sudden, the Federal Reserve is going to go, wait a second. How do we control this thing? The IRS is already going, wait a second. How do we tax this thing? That's the next big thing we haven't even talked about, IRS. And so what happens is they're not going to adopt it quick. I'm not surprised, Dave, that this is one trend they made. It's not a stock. Wall Street doesn't miss the IPO of Snapchat, the IPO of Apple. The price is already priced in. The second that IPO launches, man, the price moves around to the equilibrium basic price of what a lot of smart institutions think. But you can't do that with this.
That's always been the path. It's like when, private equity, or Stellar Lumens that I like. If it wasn't for this system, I'm sure that whoever were the original investors in whatever Stellar was trying to do, nobody would have called me. There's no way I would have been an investor. But because it's such an open and free system, I was able to get in. And then there's so many people, just some educated person in Vietnam can go and start investing in something that could be the next big platform. Yeah, and I don't think things have moved this quickly before in front of, investment things have moved so much faster than Wall Street.